The alarm klaxons wailed in Earth's Defense Command, each tone slicing through the silence of the war room like a knife. Red icons flared across the tactical display, blinking with the desperate pulse of human colonies under attack. Titan's oxygen domes, Mars' outer stations, and Europa's mining outposts, all crying out at once. Admiral Cassandra Vale stood motionless in the center of the command floor, hands clasped behind her back. Her face was stone, but her eyes carried the weight of every scream embedded in those distress transmissions. Her staff whispered updates around her, clipped reports of orbital bombardments and collapsing habitats, but she barely needed their words. The screens already told the story. The core ascendancy was erasing human life at the frontier. "Admiral," Commander Darius Holt said, voice taut. "Titan's Dome 3 is breached. Casualties, tens of thousands. Mars' defense grid is holding for now, but they can't last." Vale inhaled once, slow and deliberate. "Order the fleets to fall back. No escalation." The command floor went still. Holt's head jerked toward her. "Fall back? Admiral, if we pull, they'll wipe them out anyway," she cut in. Her voice was even, but her jaw was locked tight. "If we respond with full force now, the ascendancy will flood the system with 3 times as many ships. We're not ready to show our hand." The silence that followed was worse than the alarms. Officers shifted uncomfortably. Everyone in that room knew what "not ready" meant. For decades humanity had hidden the true extent of its arsenal, presenting the galaxy with fleets that looked impressive enough to suggest parity, but far from terrifying. Behind the curtain lay the truth: shipyards buried in asteroid belts, kinetic weapons banned by interstellar treaties, AI-guided strike craft mothballed in vaults. Humanity had been patient, cautious. Civilized. Vale turned away from the screens. "Signal the evacuation channels. Prioritize civilian transports. If the Corps want to test us, let them keep thinking we're weak." The words tasted like ash. Hours later, the council chamber echoed with outrage. Politicians in immaculate suits shouted across the polished table while the planetary representatives argued about sanctions, treaties, and diplomatic channels already burned to ash. Vale stood at the head of the chamber, helmet tucked under her arm, uniform scorched from too many sleepless nights. "They are butchering our people," she said, voice cutting through the noise. "Diplomacy has failed. Sanctions are meaningless to an empire built on conquest. You are debating procedure while our colonies burn." Counselor Leong slammed a hand on the table. "And what do you propose, Admiral? That we bare our teeth and risk drawing the entire Dominion into war? If we reveal what we've hidden, every power in the galaxy will see us as a threat." Vale's gaze locked on him. "And if we continue like this, humanity won't survive to worry about what the Dominion thinks." A murmur rippled through the chamber. She could see the fear in their eyes, not just of the aliens, but of their own fleets. They had kept the arsenal secret for decades for a reason. The galaxy was an old, paranoid place. Young species who rose too fast were crushed before they could become rivals. Humanity had played meek, pretending to be the polite newcomers, bowing at every threat. It had worked, until now. The council descended again into bickering. Vale turned on her heel and left. That night, a new broadcast crackled across Sol space. The image of Arch-Sovereign Jacor filled every public channel, a reptilian figure cloaked in regalia, his scaled jaw lined with serrated fangs. His voice rumbled with disdain. "Humans of Earth, your colonies lie shattered. Your fleets flee like frightened prey. You are not a people fit for the stars. You are prey pretending at power. Submit your homeworld to our dominion, and your extinction may be merciful." The broadcast ended with the ascendancy crest, blazing across every civilian and military feed. Vale stood in the command center, hands clasped behind her back, while the officers waited for her response. "Patch me through," she ordered. A heartbeat later, her image went out across the same channels. Her face was calm, her voice measured, but her eyes were fire. "This is Admiral Cassandra Vale, Supreme Commander of Earth's Defense. You call us prey. You call us weak. Perhaps we have allowed you to think so. But hear this, stop attacking, or we stop pretending to be civilized. The silence that followed seemed to stretch across the stars. Then the feed cut. The days that followed were darker still. Reports flooded in, colonies obliterated, survivors crowding into orbital habitats, supply chains ruptured. Human citizens began to whisper of betrayal. Why had Earth's fleets not struck back? Why were they watching loved ones burn while the Admiralty held back? Vale ignored the whispers. She spent every hour in secured bunkers beneath the lunar surface, reviewing schematics stamped with black class clearance. Project HFY. Entire fleets hidden in the shadows of the asteroid belt. Orbital lances powerful enough to shatter dreadnoughts in a single strike. War AI locked under failsafes older than her own career. She placed her hand against the biometric seal. The vault hissed open, rows of dormant machines gleaming under pale lights. Engines of war built not for defense, but annihilation. Wake them, she told the technicians. The next council meeting was quieter. Refugee numbers had climbed into the millions. The argument had drained from the politicians' faces, leaving only grim resignation. Vale stepped forward. The Ascendancy believes we are weak because we let them. That ends now. They have mistaken restraint for inability. They will not make that mistake again. Councillor Leong leaned forward, voice low. And when we reveal our true capacity, Admiral, what then? Every empire in the galaxy will fear us. Good. She let the word hang in the air. Let them. In the silence of her private quarters, Vale stared out at Earth, blue and fragile beneath the scattered lights of orbital stations. The planet looked peaceful, serene. It was a lie, the same lie humanity had sold the galaxy. She thought of the colonists on Titan, their domes shattering around them. Of the miners on Europa choking on vacuum as their stations cracked. Of Mars still holding, waiting for reinforcements that never came. Her reflection in the glass was hard, almost unrecognizable. You wanted the beast, she whispered. You'll see the beast. Outside the stars burned, indifferent witnesses to the masks slipping away. The first of the hidden fleets emerged from the asteroid belt in silence, black hulls sliding into the sunlight like leviathans breaching the ocean's surface. They had waited for decades, sealed in the shadows, cloaked beneath mining signatures and false telemetry. Now awakened, they stretched their limbs, thousands of meters of armor and weapons gleaming as if eager for release. On Earth, the reveal hit the public like a shockwave. Civilians crowding orbital stations pressed against windows, staring wide-eyed as warships they had never been told existed drifted past. News anchors stammered through hurried reports, whispering the words everyone was thinking, "We've been hiding this." Admiral Cassandra Vale stood on the command deck of the Resolute, flagship of the awakened fleet, as the formation assembled. One by one, transponders lit across her tactical display, HFY assets online, engines primed, weapons hot. For the first time, the human fleet looked like what it had always secretly been, predators. Status? She asked. Commander Holt, face pale but steady, answered. Fleet cohesion nominal. Drones at 70% activation. Orbital lances on standby. It's all real, Admiral. Vale gave a single nod. Then it's time they knew. The galaxy learned quickly. Within hours, Ascendancy spies transmitted panicked reports to their masters. The humans lied. Their fleets are not what they claimed. Their weapons are forbidden, ancient, deadly. Arch-Sovereign Jacquard's reply came on an encrypted channel, his scaly visage twisted in fury. So the vermin kept their claws hidden. All the better, we will break them before the galaxy. Prepare the Mars offensive. The neutral station at Proxima became the stage for a confrontation neither side had sought but both demanded. The chamber was circular, lit by sterile white light, with banners of neutrality draped like meaningless decorations. Jacquard entered first, towering over his honor guard, claws clicking against the polished floor. His golden eyes burned with contempt. Vale arrived moments later, helmet under one arm, the black of her fleet uniform crisp against the stark setting. She carried no weapon but radiated the weight of command. The Arch-Sovereign sneered, exposing serrated teeth. You dare stand before me after your cowardice at Titan? Vale's expression didn't waver. We offered peace. You mistook silence for fear. That was your mistake. He leaned forward, voice a hiss. You are insects. A species born in mud, now hiding behind machines you can barely control. You are prey, Vale. Nothing more. Her eyes narrowed. We've been civilized by choice, not necessity. Push us further, and you'll see the difference. The chamber buzzed with tension. Guards shifted, hands hovering near weapons. For one heartbeat, war threatened to begin right there, in a sterile conference room. Then Vale turned on her heel and left without another word. Her silence spoke louder than any threat. The assault came days later. Mars lit up with fire as ascendancy fleets descended. Orbital stations shattered under beam fire, and ground batteries melted into slag. For a moment, humanity's oldest colony stood on the brink of annihilation. Then the Resolute and her fleet arrived. Vale's voice rang through the comms, crisp and unyielding. All units weapons free. No restraint. Show them what it means to wake us. The sky above Mars erupted. Orbital lances, long hidden beneath coated layers of secrecy, ignited. Spears of tungsten, accelerated to impossible velocity, punched through ascendancy capital ships, tearing them apart in single strikes. Human cruisers swarmed, unleashing drone clouds that swirled like hornets around reptilian hulls. The aliens fired back, but their beams carved only empty space as Vale's formations moved with surgical precision, guided by AI once locked away. On the surface, Marines fought like demons. Where ascendancy troops relied on intimidation and overwhelming numbers, humans met them in brutal close combat, blades flashing, rifles barking in tight quarters. Casualties were high, but every squad fought with the ferocity of people who had nowhere else to run. Alien commanders faltered, unnerved by the sheer relentlessness. Admiral, the Ascendancy flagship is retreating, Holt reported, voice tight with disbelief. Vale stood tall on the command deck, watching the tactical display as red icons blinked out one after another. Pursue until they're clear of Mars orbit. Make sure they understand, there's no safety here anymore. The alien fleet broke. For the first time, the core Ascendancy retreated before human fire. News spread across the stars like wildfire. The humans had stood their ground. The humans had revealed weapons long thought lost to legend. The humans had beaten the Ascendancy. In shadowed council halls of other empires, whispers began. If the humans can drive back the core, what else are they hiding? Vale sat in her private quarters aboard the Resolute, the weight of victory pressing as heavily as defeat. Her calm terminal flickered with incoming transmissions, council demands, civilian praise, terrified warnings from allied worlds. She ignored them all. Instead, she stared at the message she was about to send, a simple, unambiguous statement to the United Earth Council. Her voice was steady as she recorded it. We warned them. They ignored us. Now they know. No more masks. From this day forward, humanity fights with both hands. And if the galaxy doesn't like it, let them try to stop us. She hit send. In the Ascendancy throne world, Jacques shattered a console with his claws. The chamber filled with shards of stone and the hiss of his rage. His advisors trembled but said nothing. Summon the Armada, he roared. If the humans wish to bare their fangs, then we will tear them out. They will not survive our wrath. His voice carried across the hall, echoing with hatred and fear he refused to name. On the Resolute, Vale returned to the bridge. The fleet stretched around her in silent formation, war machines newly reborn. Through the viewport, Mars glowed faintly red, scarred but unbroken. She rested a hand against the cold glass. You wanted to see us without our mask, she whispered, so softly no one else heard. Now you will. The civilized lie had ended. The war for survival had truly begun. The stars above Earth filled with enemy fire. The core Ascendancy Armada bled into soul space in waves, ripping the void with their drives. Thousands of ships, shields glittering like jagged scales, fell into formation. It was the largest alien force humanity had ever faced, a storm meant to crush resistance and display course supremacy to the galaxy. In orbit, Earth's defense network flickered awake. Long silent platforms rose from hidden vaults beneath the moon. Railguns unfolded from orbital rings disguised as power conduits. Drone hives cracked open like swarms of hornets ready to sting. Aboard the Resolute, Admiral Cassandra Vale stood with arms folded behind her back. Her command deck vibrated with the thrum of engines and distant weapons charging. She looked at the hollow map of the system, red symbols pouring into orbit, blue markers spreading out in precise, lethal arcs. The battle to decide humanity's future was seconds away. Commander Holt approached, jaw tight. They brought everything. Every warship within their reach. If we lose here... Vale cut him off with a glance. We're not losing. The deck hushed. The first volleys roared across the void. Alien beams lanced toward Earth, streaks of searing light aimed at orbital habitats. Railguns hidden in the orbital ring fired back, tungsten rods tearing across kilometers in moments. Ascendancy cruisers shattered under the impacts, hulls unraveling in incandescent bursts. Drone swarms surged forward, clouds of metal and fire. Alien formations buckled as the autonomous craft sliced through their ranks, weaving patterns of destruction too complex for reptilian commanders to counter. On the bridge, Vale issued orders with calm precision. Fleet Alpha, drive a wedge through their forward line. Beta, swing wide, trap their flank against Luna's defense batteries. Keep Earth behind a wall of steel. Ships moved in flawless synchrony, guided by war AI awakened for this single purpose. Every maneuver was crisp, every strike surgical. Yet the Ascendancy Armada pressed harder, flooding the battle space with bodies and fire. A report crackled. Mars defense grid destroyed. Enemy reinforcements inbound. Vale's jaw clenched. She leaned over the display, eyes narrowing. Then we end this before they arrive. On the alien flagship, Arch-Sovereign Jacor towered over his officers, claws flexing in fury. Through the viewport, human weapons carved holes in his armada, but still his forces advanced. They cannot hold against us forever, he growled. Their world will burn. Drive them into their cradle. But even as he spoke, a new pattern emerged on the battlefield. Human ships abandoning safe arcs to ram Ascendancy cruisers, detonating warheads at point-blank range. Marines boarded alien dreadnoughts, fighting hand to claw in brutal corridors. The humans did not fight for territory, or even victory. They fought with a desperation that made them terrifying. For the first time, Jacor felt the seed of unease. Back on the Resolute, Holt shouted, "Enemy flagship in range!" Vale stepped forward. Her voice carried across the comms, broadcast to every human ship and through hijacked channels, into the feeds of every alien vessel in the system. "This is Admiral Cassandra Vale, speaking for Earth. Hear me, all of you. We offered peace. We endured insult after insult, massacre after massacre. We chose restraint because we believed the galaxy wanted civilization. You mistook that for weakness." Her words echoed as human fleets closed around the Ascendancy flagship. "No more. Today you learn the truth. Humanity kneels to no one. Attack us again, and we will stop pretending to be civilized. We will answer blood with fire, and we will not stop until your stars are ashes." On cue, the orbital lances fired. Massive beams tore through the flagship's escorts. Human cruisers encircled the command vessel, hammering its shields until they fractured like glass. Marines breached its hull. Explosions blossomed along its spine. "Target their engines," Vale ordered. The final salvo ripped through the flagship's core. The vessel split in two, debris scattering across the void. The Ascendancy fleet faltered. Without their sovereign, discipline collapsed. Ships fled in every direction, retreating from the Sol system in disarray. The battle was over. Silence settled across the bridge, broken only by the hiss of cooling systems. Officers sagged into their chairs, some laughing with relief, others weeping quietly at the cost. The casualty lists already scrolled across secondary displays, names of ships gone dark, Marines who would never return. Victory was carved from sacrifice. Vale remained standing, hands still behind her back, eyes fixed on Earth below. Blue and white, scarred but alive. "Signal all fleets," she said quietly. "Stand down. We've made our point." Holt hesitated. "And the galaxy?" "They heard you. Every empire, every council. They're afraid of us now." Vale turned, her gaze steady. "Good. Fear keeps predators at bay." Weeks later, the galaxy still reeled. The footage of Vale's broadcast circulated endlessly, her voice cold as steel, her warning unmistakable. Refugee worlds whispered of salvation. Old empires muttered of danger. The ascendancy licked its wounds, leaderless and humiliated. In the council chamber on Earth, politicians sat in uneasy silence as Vale gave her final report. "We have shown our teeth," she said. "The galaxy knows the truth now. They will watch us, fear us, maybe even hate us. But they will not dismiss us again." Counselor Leong leaned forward, voice hushed. "And if they come together against us? If fear unites them?" Vale's expression was unreadable. "Then they'll discover we were merciful the first time." The chamber froze at her words. Later, alone in her quarters, Vale stood before the viewport once more. Earth spun beneath her, fragile yet indomitable. She whispered to the silent void. "Civilization was the mask. Survival is the truth. And now, the galaxy knows." Outside, the stars burned cold, indifferent witnesses to the birth of something new, humanity unbound, no longer hiding. And across the galaxy, in the shadows of alien councils, one truth spread like fire: the humans had given their final warning.